day one of what should be about a week-long trip here. I'm actually starting solo for 2 days, 2 nights, and then I'll be meeting up with another couple of guys for the main leg of the trip. But I'm extending it a little bit. I'm gonna make it a full week, get a full long trip out of it. Hopefully really good fishing, wildlife, and this special northern scenery. Did one 900-meter portage. Now I'm on the second one into the main lake that I'll be on for this little side mission. There's a special place I want to get to. Here we go. Erin and I were actually on this lake last year this time. Got into some really solid pike fishing, so I'm hopeful for that. It's just a gorgeous lake. It's over 10 kilometers long, dotted with islands, full of pike. Gotta love it. Beautiful little waterfall here. Couldn't resist getting out. Oh, it's so pretty. A magical little spot. The thing with waterfalls for me is it's not the volume or the height, it's really the shape of it. And this one's just got such a nice flow. I guess that's a good segue into while I'm doing this whole little extra side trip before the main trip. It is to see a waterfall that has captivated me for quite a while. I've seen it on satellite. Almost no one would ever see it. That's what I'm shooting for. Home sweet home. Beautiful spot to camp here. Nice exposed rock, jack pine, no shortage of firewood. A neat little fire ring here with some stools. Just such an awesome spot. Makes you feel so spoiled to have it all to yourself. Should help with the flies a little. Not too bad with the wind, but they're around. Always watching. Okay, beautiful. Almost as good as the steak. Perfect. Nice and pink, but not too bloody. Well done, sir. Well, thank you. Man, that was super good. Got the Amok Drummer ultralight version this time. I'm gonna pull the bug net out here so I can actually relax. Before I get into the hammock, it's just one more thing I need to hit maximum comfort. Catch of the day. Cult classic by Sucrum's Brewing. Just keeping it cool there in the water. I'm keeping in touch with Rob here with the Zolio and getting the latest weather as well. Just want to keep in touch with him for our rendezvous in 2 days, less than 2 days. Wind's going down, so I'm going to get some fishing in, but the wind being down means black flies are free to do as they will, and what they will is to chew on my flesh. Just had a fish on. So beautiful here. Oh, just set the hook and pulled it out. Dang. For cast and retrieve, setting the hook is really important. As soon as you feel the bite, set the hook. When trolling, it's much less necessary and can sometimes foil you like it did just there. The weight of the canoe pulling the lure forward will set the hook already. What I did there and tried to set it again, usually not necessary and probably will do more harm than good. All right, second chance. Tighten up the drag a little. Looks like a bit of weight there. At least a few pounds, which is not saying a lot for a pike. No, it's small and potentially fouled. Meaning not hooked in the mouth. No, it's hooked in the mouth. Okay, there it is. I'm not even gonna net it. Thanks for cooperating. Just a little pike. Thanks, buddy. There he goes. Wow, really calmed down, turned into such a nice evening. Got sun dogs around the sun now. That big ring. It's funny, sometimes it takes days, 4 or 5 days to get into the flow of a trip. I kind of felt it immediately. Oh, fish on. That's the feeling right there. And I was just thinking, social media and cell phones are a disease. This is a cure. I feel so content right now. And, you know, this is the easy start of the trip. It's going to get a lot more challenging, but looking forward to that too. Another pike. Small. It's right in the corner of the mouth. Just give me 1 sec. There you go, buddy. Thank you. Thanks for the bite. Wow. Just wow. I am setting an alarm for probably 5:30 a.m. I want to get at her right away. Great day. Really looking forward to tomorrow though. Checked the weather again this morning on the Zolio, and there was a chance of rain today. It looks like that's probably going to happen. The high is only 12 today, Celsius. Pretty cool, but it's good to know. Now I can dress for it because I got to bushwhack over to this waterfall. I got to bring everything that I'm going to need. So I'd rather know than not know. There was red sky at night, Sailor's Delight last night. There was also red sky at morning, Sailor's Warning today. Hopefully those cancel each other out. Okay, hash browns for brekkie. As a man with Irish descent, I'm able to get 100% of my daily minerals and vitamins from potatoes. So this will give me everything I need today, along with some ketchup for added sugar nutrition, and a little salt. Fish on. This one feels a little more powerful than the two dinks yesterday. Reeling down while keeping the rod bent, and then pull up with the rod. That's where all the power is. No, still pretty small. Okay. All right, buddy, thank you. All three fish on the husky jerk. Just trolling, but any similar lure would have worked, I'm sure. So I want to cut west through the bush here, and I'm just looking for the path of least resistance. If I can find some good hardwood stands, that would make it so much easier, like something like this. Anywhere there's birch and poplar, I can potentially get a clear understory in the forest and be able to just walk right through. The conifers tend to make that very difficult. So that'll probably be my spot. I'm just going to scout a little farther, because it's about 1 kilometer over, and finding that path of least resistance makes it so much easier if you do find it. Oh, rod twitched, and yep, there it is. Whoa. You can see the rod bent back there, and it kind of sets the hook for me. Hence, when I pull it out of the rod holder, I don't need to go and slam it back. Feels small. Yeah, same old really. There we go. Carbon copy, the last one. All right, here we go. Hardest part's gonna be getting this 7-foot one-piece rod through. Be nice to have a telescopic rod or 2-piece, but I got what I got. Erin and I attempted this last year. We gave up. It's just impenetrable boreal forest. There are little gaps that you can squeeze through, but we opted to portage into the next lake instead and do some fishing there, which was probably the best choice, but it's still been on my mind. And so here I am, getting really excited. Moose poop. I can't wait to see these falls. I'm about halfway, finding some decent reasonable terrain to get through, better than what Erin and I had found last year. And I can see on my topo map that I'm at the height of land here. And I can hear, now that I'm over the hump, I can hear the waterfall. More moose poop. And the tracks in this squishy moss, it's beautiful. Moose signs all over here. And then somebody lost a good chunk of fur here. Hey! Really close now. The back half of this bushwhack turned into a pretty nice walk, actually. It's a nice jack pine forest, which is pretty clear. I was expecting walls of balsam fir, and I can see the falls through the trees. Oh man, so excited, and I want to fish it. I have no idea what's in there, if anything. This river virtually dries up in the summer. There's not much water in the summer at all. So, see if any fish take to it. Oh, I'm gonna get a lot steeper here to get down there. Oh man, it's a beautiful gorge. What a spot. And you can bet almost no one gets here. Two guys did last year, David Mans and David Lee. Good on them. Wow, what a beautiful little chute there. I'll get the drone out so you can see it better. Beautiful. So happy I got to see it. Like I said yesterday, it's not so much the volume of water or the height of the falls, it's the shape. And in this case, it's just the fact that it's coming through that little slit in the rock, just shooting over there so perfectly. Trying to get to the base of the falls, or as close as I can to fish it. Just rugged terrain. Oh. All right, let's see if anything's in here. Not a bite. Switch it up, but I'm not getting a good vibe here. The spot like this, usually it's automatic if they're there. No bites, but 100% worth it. I want to see the top of these falls. Better be careful not to knock the loose rocks here. I could set up a rock slide on myself. This rock just looks old as time itself. And it almost is. What a beautiful little gorge here, right before the falls. This will be hard to see, but right there's a little rock cairn. Someone has set foot there, and they planted their rock flag in it. Back to the lake. It felt a lot longer coming back than it did on the way, which is usually the case. Actually cold out. Finished lunch. Finished packing up, get out of here. Got to go all the way back. I came yesterday to rendezvous with Rob and set up our shuttle. This is a river trip, so that's the inevitable nasty part of it. Don't usually keep really small pike because they're very bony and you end up not getting a ton of flesh out of it. Yep. There, perfect. Back into the access lake. Just gotta get back to the car. That's where I'll camp tonight. Stashed my gear in the bush near the access point for tomorrow. Gotta sleep in my car tonight, drive to Rob's tomorrow morning, and then we'll come back and start here again. Just saw a bear run off here on Forestry Road, middle of nowhere. Here's home for the night. Just a random, ugly clear cut. Getting everything juiced up. This Amok Fuel Winter Light is very generously sized. It barely fits. I think I'll have to sleep at a bit of an angle. It's so generously sized. Just gonna sleep in there tonight so I can get going first thing tomorrow without much pack up. Just killing time here. Just a little top water action before bed. Dusk and dawn, you know? Key in these small, shallow bodies of water to keep a low profile. Stay low to the ground so the fish do not see you. To be honest, that kind of got me excited for some top water. Holy crap. I just looked up and there's a bear right behind me. Fourth one of the day. Right over there. See if I can get out silently to film him. Oh, right there. There you go. There's your big boy. Okay. Hey! Hey! seems mean, but it's in their best interest to be scared of humans. It's cool. I wonder what else come by here. I figured some would. Bears or moose, actually, I thought more likely. See if we get any other visitors. That was a long night in the car. I don't like sleeping in the car. And got some really bad news, which is that the trip is canceled. Rob's buddy tore his rotator cuff, he thinks, last night because he can't move his arm. So he's not canoeing, and I feel for him. That's the last thing you want early in the canoe tripping season. He might be out of commission for a while, so hope he's all right. But on to plan B. There are endless canoe tripping opportunities around here. I can never do them all, so it's not like I can't do that trip now because it was a shuttle. We needed the cars, but there are tons of others that I can do. So on to the next one. It's a beautiful morning. It's potentially supposed to turn to rain and even thunderstorms later, so I should get going. I have to now pick up my canoe and gear in a very inconvenient location, but it won't set me back too much. Do you brush out here? Some people just don't brush when they're camping. Like on this road full of bears. It's a pretty good sized one. And they all run away. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what you want to see. Good stuff, bear. Now some sandhill cranes. There's just so much wildlife on this road, it's crazy. I also saw a moose earlier, I didn't get footage though. These sandhill cranes are so loud when they croak, and they're very tall. Alright, back to square one. Gotta double carry my gear back to the car. It's almost a kilometer each way. And now I'm thinking about bears everywhere. I've got like a bear spray holster that I keep on my belt. When I bushwhacked to that waterfall, the bear spray itself popped out somehow. Never had that happen, and it's gone. I retraced my steps, couldn't find it, and yeah, seeing all those bears and not having it now is not the best timing. I feel a bit naked, but like you saw, all the bears, they ran. They're good bears. They're not habituated bears that are used to getting food from humans. There's a huge difference there. So I'm sure I'll be fine. Just give out a big hey-o! That's my gun. Back to the gear. Time to portage. Okay, on to part 2 of this trip. So the last 3/4 of a day have not gone as planned, but the upside, saw 5 bears, 2 moose, 4 sandhill cranes, 3 or 4 hares, and 2 bald eagles for my trouble. So here I'm on another route that I'm super excited about. So really not too much loss, just the company. I was here last year with Joe. 2 things happened that are bringing me back. I caught a fish that I believe was a lake trout. Several people have said it was a tiger trout because it had very unusual coloration or patterning actually on it. So I'm here to see if I can get another one of those and kind of get some confirmation on that. The other thing, I lost my GoPro. It had some of the gnarliest portaging footage on it that I've ever recorded, probably the nastiest. So I'm on the hunt for that GoPro. Can't imagine I'm gonna find it a year later. We scoured the place, looked everywhere for it last year, right after I lost it. but I'm gonna give it a whirl. Fish on. Feels pretty small, but I bet it's a little brook trout. Huh, no way. It's actually a lake trout. This is such a small lake. Thanks, buddy. I did not expect it to have the depth for Lakers. Hey, it's a lake trout, eh? This portage is horrendous. Black flies are at maximum level almost. And we got to get back over there. We've scouted and cleared it, and I lost my GoPro on it. I'm using my secondary one right now. But we just need to get there and make camp. Let's just do it. We're taking a breather here. Just complete brutality. This is a horrible portage. Yep. At the first portage, after a very scenic paddle, this fog is just racing through the lake. It's got to be blowing something in, so faster I can get this done, the better. Oh, can't wait for this one to be over. Oh man, that is a rough trail. Long, challenging, and just difficult to follow it. But here we are. All right, ugly part's over until I have to do it again on the way out. Gonna motor over to the campsite that Joe and I established last year. But I can't help trolling on the way. Such a beautiful lake. Small, this island in the middle of it, and then a lake on either side of it, just separated by narrows. Pretty perfect. Doesn't look like it from here, but that's home in there. It's actually a pretty cozy spot once you get in. Black flies haven't been bad today, and they suddenly just went crazy. Which might just be because I'm on land, or it's the pre-storm bug surge. It's good to know this is here because it was hard to find anything with Joe last year. And it looks like quite a rat's nest at first, but there are some cozy spots. Look at that. There's a fire pit, some wood still. Thanks Joe and previous me. Just started raining. I scrambled to get the tarp up. I hope there's a thunderstorm. I would love to ride out a thunderstorm in the hammock today. This is my favorite kind of campsite. Just rugged and untamed, unused. Aside from Joe and I, Who knows if anyone's ever used it? Probably not. I'm a veggie burrito dehydrated mix. And then pretty much just fill that to the top with water, to the top of the food, I mean. You start with less than more, because you can always add more. When it comes to camping trips, I tend to set my expectations too high. For instance, on this short trip, I hoped for a big thunderstorm this evening and then potentially northern lights tonight. Both were forecasted, but instead I'm probably just getting a gray night. And then I wanted to find my GoPro, which I tried last year, didn't happen. And then I want to catch another fancy lake trout, whatever it was. But in all likelihood, none of those four things are going to happen. And I spend so much time thinking about what I want to happen or what I hope will happen in the future that I'm not in the moment. And I find it's especially true as a YouTuber because I'm trying to put together some kind of theme or narrative for the video. And that is mostly predicated on things that are going to happen over the course of the trip. So I think I'm just going to reset my expectations for this trip. I'm going to enjoy this overcast evening. Tomorrow I'm going to go for a walk. If I find something, great. And then after that, I'll go fishing. That's it. Whatever happens, happens. I think I'll enjoy it a lot more. So, cheers to the moment. That must have looked really awkward. Didn't get much out either. This looks incredibly beautiful down that way. There's a creek leading to another lake. It's probably Slog, but looks very tempting right now. Maybe before I'm gone, but I'm not going to plan that. We'll see if I get to it. It's a weird find. Just tucked into the rocks, 4 nice rounds. They'll make good stools for camp, so I'll take them back. Maybe someone cut them in the winter, ice fishing. Unreal. Furniture. Beautiful morning. Got dark and rainy suddenly though. Veggie curry for brekkie. Wind's picking up too. Wind is crazy today. A bit worried about blowdown, particularly over my shelter. These are fiddleheads. They're a bit too tall now. Actually, that one, the smallest one there, is edible. I'm gonna keep an eye out. Might be able to get some fiddleheads today. Yeah, so these are fiddleheads. You can identify them with this U-shaped groove in the stem, this brown papery skin that falls right off very easily, and the absence of hairs. If it has little hairs on it, then it's something else. And these small ones, those would be good to eat tonight. These ones here, they're too big. Once it's above 6 to 8 inches, it becomes somewhat toxic. But yeah, these ones are too tall as well. But there's some for the picking. See, here's one with hairs on it. This is not the one you want. And over here, that's the brown papery skin. So if you didn't see my trip with Joe last year, here's what happened. We were starting this exploratory trip here. We got into this lake and then we wanted to push ahead on our first day. The black flies were off the chain, like 10 out of 10. The terrain was very rough for portaging all of our gear through. I can't even find where we went now with virtually no gear on my back. And we were just exhausted and sweaty. And somewhere along the way on this portage, between here and the next lake, I know it was somewhere there, I lost my GoPro. My GoPro had all the footage on of, you know, the difficulty of the travel. And that was the hardest thing to lose, not the GoPro itself, just the memory card. So I've been wanting to get it back ever since. But like I said last night, I'm just out for a walk in the woods. If I happen to stumble upon a GoPro, that would be lovely. The hills were one of the toughest things last year. It just goes up and down, and with heavy loads, we packed quite heavily. It was rough. So I have last year's tracks on here. This is just a federal topo map using the Avenza Maps app, which shows my location there. When I'm doing exploratory trips, I'll first scout, and that's what these purple dots are. Those are areas where I scouted through and I said, okay, this general area is reasonably clear. And then I just connect those purple dots when it's time to actually portage. So we came through here, we paddled this pond, which I'll just bushwhack to the side. And then we got into here. And it was just so nasty. You can see all these dots that I left thinking, okay, this little spot is decent, but it never lasted long. Eventually we got there. I climbed up to this peak here. And I'm hoping that, like, that's my best guess as to where the GoPro might be. Somewhere up there, because that was the last place I remember recording a shot with it. We had found this goat path here, and we were so optimistic. Even just walking up this is tough, it's steep. But it didn't really lead to much. While I was searching for the GoPro last year, Joe was at camp, and he heard something in the bushes. We believe it was a bear. But there's still some mystery around that, and I'm thinking about bears right now. I don't have bear spray on me right now, and it would be a bad time to run into a sow with cubs. This beaver-chewed stick will act as a baseball bat if I need a weapon. Sweet little pond in between the lakes. So the GoPro is somewhere here, between here and the next lake. But that's like a needle in the haystack. See anything? It's a bit painful knowing today that I might walk right past it and be a couple feet away from it. Probably will. If I don't find it, that is probably going to be the case. Oh man, brings back memories getting back to this point. Joe and I worked so hard to get here, and we were so low by the time we did. But it's a really beautiful lake. I remember this spot. There's this huge plate-shaped mushroom here. So I did come through here. So here's the top of the peak. This is the last known whereabouts of the GoPro. I remember taking a shot up here, facing the lake, and that was the last I remember using it. Oh man. Saw this little black bit of dirt there, and from a certain angle it looked like a black square, GoPro sized. Heart leapt a little. Stunning. I've been recording my track for a little while now so I can see what I've covered. We did a ton of bushwhacking to scout and create a trail, so we went all over. Just so many places it could be. This clearly got scuffed off last year, so I was here, and then that was confirmed right here. Cut that log, so I did come through here. Well, I searched every logical place I could think of. No sign of it, so it was a nice walk in the woods. It was kind of fun though. Felt like a hunt, a scavenger hunt. Grouse. So at least I'm getting some fiddleheads out of the deal. Just gonna take these small ones in the middle that are still curled up. Got a few dozen, plenty for me for one meal. Now I just gotta get back to camp. It's gonna be a challenge in this wind. Trees sound like they're about to break down. Got them all rinsed up, and I'm gonna saute them in butter, but first they need to boil. You can get sick if you don't boil them first. Okay, 5 to 7 minute boil. That's really good. Tastes similar to asparagus, which I really love. And like with asparagus, I like a little salt and pepper. Windbound all afternoon and into the evening now, and this north wind is brutally cold. I was getting really cold just reading there, so up and about, making some hot chocolate, got some goat cheese. It's not a bad evening. Good morning. Oh, morning. Let's get the fire started. Wind settled down, eh? So far this trip's been all stuff that we've done before. Maybe today we'll explore something new. Yeah? Alright. Just gonna get some brekkie done quick. Bear with me, man. Sorry. So yeah, today I'm gonna try and head north. From this lake, I've been east, I've been west, I've been south, and north I've put off because it looks like a nasty slog through a creek. But after being windbound most of yesterday, not really accomplishing much, I feel like I have it in me. If I get through, it looks spectacular on a map. Just a long, skinny lake, cliffs on one side. Doing dehydrated chili for brekkie, along with 8 pieces of garlic toast. I meant to bring only 4 of them, but I pulled the entire bag out of the freezer, so I'm going to eat it up before it goes moldy. And I had a snuggle buddy last night. It was actually very cold for, the time of year. It was around 0, around freezing. So I slept with my filter inside of a plastic bag. This is my water filter. If it freezes, the water that's in there will expand and ruin the filter, so that can't happen. So we snuggled up. Eight pieces of garlic bread with chili and cheese is a lot. This is a lot of food. More. You can do it, Bruce! Come on, Bruce! You can do it, Bruce! 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 And that's how we eat breakfast. So there's my camp, that red pin at the bottom. There's my location in blue, and I want to carry up through this creek. This should be the rough part. Once I get it into this lake, it should be fine. Looks clear anyway on a map, but sometimes the map lies. Just gonna send the drone up to do a little pre-scout. Probably gonna have to get wet here, and it is cold this morning. Sun just busted through on me, and that feels amazing, but if I'm gonna get cold, I wanna make sure this is gonna be, there's some potential there at least. Alright, let's see what we're working with here. Looks so beautiful already. Just getting 8 meters up in the air. Well, I rarely get to say this, but the creek actually looks good. There's this beaver dam right at the start and then some other obstruction toward the end. And that's all I could really see. Oh yeah. Trying to stay dry in these temperatures. Just enough water to paddle here, and I'm at that last obstruction before the lake. I can't believe how well that creek travel went. There's clearly a rapid or something here, but it might even be a waterfall, because looking at the lake through the clearing there, it looks like it's a decent drop down. Just gonna try and find the best bushwhack through here now. It's pretty thick. It never ceases to amaze me where I'll find a cached boat. I have no idea why. Like, it's so shallow here, you'd have trouble getting the boat across. Not to mention you have to lift over the beaver dam. Anyway, the trail looks pretty overgrown, but there is one here, so that's great news for me. Yeah, evidently it hasn't been taken out in a while. That's actually dirt, so it's been mulching there for a bit. Gorgeous. And there's that outfloat of fish. Oh man. Nice little falls just along the portage. Just a little clearing work. It's looking good again. Okay, this is promising. Not a bite here. It is fairly shallow, but still surprising. But really beautiful lake. So I'm coming out of the main basin on the lake. I'm not sure if it's the deepest. The lake narrows for a little while here and then opens up again alongside those cliffs, which leads me to believe that might be the deepest part of the lake. And trout will be found shallow at this time of year, but they often like to have deep water nearby. So maybe that's my best bet. Beautiful beaver lodge here. What a home. Gorgeous little valley connecting these lakes. This is what it's all about for me. Bust your hump getting in, see something that almost no one ever sees, and you just soak it up. The sun comes out for you and you get these moments now and then. It all comes together. This lake is quite long actually. Beautiful. Okay, here's the last basin. Very nice. The cliffs aren't as dramatic as I thought they might be. Up here, you can see some exposed rock, but mostly treed. Beautiful spot though. I'm at the north end of the lake. There's a beaver dam here, which is given out. It might explain the low water levels. So there's definitely no fish here in the north end. I'm gonna have to go back to that first basin and focus my efforts there. If there are any fish in this water body, then they'll be there. It's times like these where I really value this topwater swim bait. It goes like this in the water and it floats. So if there's a lot of submerged weeds that don't quite go to the surface, or you're just in shallow water, but you want to troll as you go along, then this will do the job really nicely. because you never know. There are a few feet of water in some places. You could get a brookie hanging out in there. I doubt it, but I'd like to find out. Wow, there's an old trapper's cabin in the woods here. Totally tucked away. I didn't see it at all except for the reflection of light off of a window. Hello? How perfect is this? I'm assuming it's a trapper's cabin, whoever has this trap line. Wow. Hello? Hello? Hope it doesn't collapse on me. Feels pretty rickety. Not much in here. Not even a bed. Clean though. Smells like kerosene. Huh. Cool. I did see an old spring here. Well, that was a cool find. Not getting the things that I expect on this trip, but finding different things to make up for it. Fiddleheads yesterday, this today. Not to mention just the scenery's enough. Well, I fished this lake pretty extensively and I've come up empty. So I'm gonna get out of here and head to the one lake where we actually caught fish last year. Caught that special, unique looking lake trout. I think it was anyway, lake trout. Back to camp for a late lunch, early dinner. In penne, got some dehydrated spinach and tomato to kind of freshen it up, dehydrated sauce, Parmesan, some extra cheddar I can use up, and hot sauce. So I'm passing through this little gem of a lake en route to the next one where I did catch fish last year. This one I don't think there are fish here. It's either overfished or it has no trout in it, or it's just a really tough bite at the very least. Interestingly, there was a cached boat here last year with Joe. This year it's gone, so I wonder if they had their fun and they've cleared out. I don't think most people realize how easy it is to destroy a trout fishery on a small lake like this. It's not hard. You really have to practice selective harvest. Beautiful cliffs here at the far end of the lake. It's really the other end of the lake, of course, I want to fish, but it's getting hammered by wind. Here it's pretty calm, there's not so much fetch for the wind to build up. So I don't know what to do. It's either pretty unenjoyable fishing at the other end, where I think the fish are. I think I had a bite there actually. My rod dipped back in the holder. It was off before I could do anything about it. But that was in the area where I caught the 2 trout last year. But yeah, it's just not pleasant to fish there right now. So I guess I'll fish this end for now and try and wait out the wind. So this trout I caught last year was special. It just had very irregular patterning on it compared to most lake trout. And some people were saying it's a tiger trout, which I agree somewhat look like it, but that should be impossible. I'm pretty sure tiger trout only exist where they're stocked. I don't think they really are created in nature. It's a cross between brown and brook trout. And as far as I'm aware, there have never been stocking efforts for tiger trout here. Actually, in Ontario, I think the only place they stock tiger trout is really in the northwest, the far northwest. So I find that highly unlikely. I think it's just a particular pattern on that fish, or maybe in this strain that's in this lake. I believe it's a lake trout, but anyway, I want to have another look. It was special, whatever it was. I was just stretching my legs and followed this creek up a little ways. Really nice spot for fiddleheads here. Nicer than yesterday, really. There are 4 nice ones. Let's see if I can collect some more. They were really good yesterday. These ones here, same thing, just these aren't unfurled yet. This is too tall. At this point, it can be toxic. Pretty good haul, plenty for one. It's exciting. It was a nice break from this godforsaken fishing mission, which I will resume now. Seems a bit calmer, so that'll be nice. It's already 7 o'clock, so there's not much more time to make this happen. Heading back to home base. Couldn't make it happen. I tried my absolute best. It's getting late, but I got fiddleheads to cook up, and I'm gonna get a good hot fire going because it is cold, really cold. Man, it feels good to be back. That was a full day, and getting back here, starting to feel like home. Like, I don't know, there was a real sense of comfort in being back here. So, feels good. Can't wait to eat these up. All of these things. Back to the access lake, but there's one stop left before I finish up. Awesome spot there on the falls. Just another beautiful spot on this trip. If you want to see my trip down that falls, click this link here. If you want to see the grueling trip that I did with Joe last year in this area, that's up here.